Welcome back to CryptosRus. I am George. We're all George. So welcome to another Market Open stream. Happy Friday. Today, let's talk about this epic fight between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. It is on, has been confirmed, and more details has been released. So let's talk about that. And also, let's talk about this big Bitcoin spot ETF decision that may be announced today, as soon as today. So let's talk about that as well and everything else that's going on in the world today. Welcome, guys. The market bell has just rung. Perfect timing. 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time or 9:30 Eastern Central Time every single day. Today not looking so good though. Today, U.S. market looking a little red. PPI numbers came out, another inflation data that showed inflation went up a little bit higher than expected, which is weird because CPI yesterday, even though it was it ticked a little higher, it came in below expectation, and core inflation still went down according to CPI. So today's a little off, I guess. But we'll see what today brings. But Elon, everyone's been asking, like, is this still on? What's going on? Both of these guys keep, I don't know how you say it now. It's not tweets anymore. It's like zeets, right? Zeets. And I don't know what you call it on Threads. But these guys are posting pictures of themselves training hard, right? And Elon decided to announce this. The fight will be managed by my and Zuck's foundations, not UFC. We know Dana White has been kind of all over the place saying that, he's going to try to do this in UFC, and he's talking to both of them, but now it's confirmed it's not going to be it's not going to be with the UFC, excuse me. It's both of their foundations. Live stream will be on this platform and Meta, so it's going to be dual streamed, okay? And everything in camera frame will be ancient Rome, so nothing modern at all. I've heard rumors that they're going to fight in the Coliseum, right? And he didn't confirm it, but I think it's pretty much going to be inside Coliseum. I mean, he's talking about ancient Rome, right? And then he's like talking about Prime Minister of Italy and Minister of Culture. They have agreed on an epic location. Where else could it be? Of course, it's going to be in the Coliseum. How fitting would that be? And then he goes on and says, everything done will pay respect to the past and present of Italy. All proceeds go to veterans. Interesting. So it's definitely on. No date, though. No date announced. Are they going to be training for a full year? Or maybe they're ready. I don't know. There's a lot of people. I know this has nothing to do with crypto, but it's just fascinating, right? But here's how they compare to each other. Elon is over a decade older than Mark, but he certainly has the height and size advantage, so he's going to have a longer reach. I didn't know Mark Zuckerberg was only 5'7", 155 pounds. He's a small dude, but he's looking pretty buff in his pictures. Elon is a big dude, 6'1", 230 pounds. Combat style, hostile takeover, special moves, the walrus versus the meta kick. That's quite funny, but Mark has the youth and I guess more experience. He's been fighting for a much longer time, but Elon is just a much bigger person. So we'll see how this goes. Are they putting their companies on the line? No. People are saying they should bet their company or they could shut down their company if they lose. I don't know. But I do know this will be the most watched fight in human history. I don't think there's ever been a fight like this since the Roman times, right? Like, I don't know. This is going to surpass all boxing matches, all MMA fights. This is going to be crazy. And then Zuck throws some shade at Elon. He used Threads and not X and posted this. Shouldn't we use a more reliable platform that can actually raise money for charity? I don't even get that, because can you raise money for charity on Threads, or he's talking about Facebook in general? So I don't even know. I don't even know, but he, obviously he put that out there. I mean, yeah. All right. Well, moving on. What else is there? Okay. The US continues on and incurs a lot of debt and interest. So, it's interesting that this last month, the US paid $73.3 billion in interest. Okay. The way we're heading, this will be the first year in U.S. history that the interest is over $1 trillion just in interest alone. Okay, this is not repayment of bonds or notes that are expiring. No, this is just interest alone. So you may be wondering why, the U.S. deficit goes up by $2 trillion every single year. Well, like half of that is just interest payments on what was already borrowed. So think about that. So that's why this vicious cycle of printing, borrowing, right, will never go away, because we've gotten to a point where I don't even know how we could ever get off of this cycle. So that's why inflation will always be a thing. People's buying power will always be devalued over time. And this is why we need to have something better like Bitcoin and hold on to it, because that's how you opt out of the current vicious cycle, basically, right? Inflation will always be a thing. It'll never, ever go away. But currencies collapse due to overprinting and too much inflation. It's always been. And many other countries suffer from that right now, right? And it will happen eventually to the USD. Maybe not today or tomorrow or 50 years, but it's going to happen the way we are printing and spending and borrowing. It's a vicious, vicious cycle. The first year where we will have $1 trillion in interest alone. Okay, that's why we're in Bitcoin, right? That's why so many are in Bitcoin. Booyah Interactive just approved another $5 million purchase of Bitcoin and Ether. Okay, seems tame compared to MicroStrategy's like 100 million purchase, right? Not every company could do that, but still, more and more are adding to their balance sheet, and more will be adding when spot Bitcoin ETF gets approved. So today, we have another deadline. The second deadline for ARK Invest 21 shares Bitcoin ETF is 8/13, which is on a Sunday. Okay, so they're not going to be making a decision on Sunday. But if they do want to approve or deny, they could do it today. So we will see what the SEC does. They ignored the first deadline. Okay, so now we're at a second deadline. And if they ignore it again, we have to wait until November. But the interesting thing is, you look at the remaining 7, they're all like within 1 day of each other, basically, right? ARK's is a couple months ahead. So really, this will set the tone, okay? If ARK gets their Bitcoin ETF, basically the 7 afterwards are going to get approved, right? There's just no reason why. They're from companies that are even bigger than ARK, much bigger than ARK, including BlackRock. But it'll be interesting, because if ARK somehow gets denied, then those other companies still have time to refile, to maybe make little changes. For example, they all had to refile because they needed to name a surveillance partner, and they have named Coinbase a surveillance partner. Now, all of them use Coinbase as surveillance partner, right? Unless the SEC comes back and says, well, we don't trust Coinbase as a surveillance partner. Well, then maybe everyone have to look at something else, but there's no better company that can do that, right? But we'll see. Today, if somehow, in a shocking move, we do get an approval from the SEC, I mean, Bitcoin's going to jump to like 50,000 today, okay, if we get approval. But I don't think we will. I think there's a slim to zero chance. And most likely, we will have to wait until January 10th before we get that answer. And I think that answer is going to be yes. All the insiders are saying it's going to be yes. And that's when the flood of money, endless money will be flowing into the space right before, months before the next halving event, right? So it's coming. And by the way, in case you're wondering, if you're looking at all the ETFs so far, the Bitcoin related ones have done the best in 2023. Okay. That kind of makes sense. But you look at most of these are like future space stuff. But still, if you're looking at year-to-date returns, look at that Valkyrie Bitcoin Miners ETF. I didn't even know about that one. Van Eyck Digital Transformation ETF, Global X Blockchain ETF, 227%, 182%, 167%. I mean, these ETFs are rocking it right now. All Bitcoin and crypto related too. So just imagine a spot ETFs. It's going to be absolutely wild. Really wild. But looking at technicals, Bitcoin is also looking pretty wild on a 3-day time frame. Bitcoin has just formed a golden cross. Okay, golden cross traditionally is very, very bullish, right? And we're talking about traditional cross, golden cross, death cross. We're using a 50 moving average and a 200 moving average, and it has just crossed above, right? Obviously, when we had that death cross, it wasn't good, right? When we stayed and dropped pretty low, probably more so than we should have, mostly because of, you know, all the collapses, the black swans that happened, the FTXs, right? Like that. If we didn't have all those, it probably would not have been as bad. But regardless, we have climbed up, we have formed a golden cross, so Bitcoin is ready to rock, right? Here's another indicator. This is the MACD on the monthly scale, and you can clearly see that it has flipped into the green, and whenever that happens, that's pretty darn good. That's pretty darn good. So from a technical standpoint, Bitcoin is also looking very, very good. Here's another one, a bullish broadening wedge, right? Just look at what happened in 2014 and 2017, and then what happened afterwards. Bitcoin went from a low of $160 to $20,000. Okay, think about it, $160 to $20,000. You do the math. So our low in 2023 or 2022 was like 15,000, right? So where is it going to go? 15,000 to 200,000, 250,000, 500,000 by the end of the cycle. It's going to happen, and we're right there, not too far away, right? So that's why you guys need to stay in the game. Stay focused, continue to hodl and accumulate in DCA, and let the wealth, let the gains come to you. And fundamentals of Bitcoin has never been better, right? I've talked about how all these purchases behind the scene today. We had another approval for 5 million from Booyah, right? But a lot of these guys are just buying. Balance on exchanges at a 5-year low, and will continue to drop, especially with those spot Bitcoin ETFs being improved. Those companies like BlackRock, Valkyrie, Bitwise, ARK, they have to buy a ton of Bitcoin to be able to offer those shares, right? So this will continue to drop, and the number of hodled coins will continue to rise at an increasing rate, right? Supply and demand, it's really that simple. Supply will keep on going down, and demand will keep on going up. That's it. It's really that simple. All right. That's pretty much it. Let's see. Today is Friday. We'll see what that's too bright. Today is Friday, right? I think it's Friday. I get my days confused. We'll see what this weekend brings. If we get that spot Bitcoin ETF today, that's going to be absolutely bonkers. But we'll see. We will see. All right. Let's do some Q&A. right, let's see here. Let's see if I missed anything. Someone says, love Amsterdam. Isn't there a Bitcoin conference in Amsterdam? I've been when I was very, very little. I don't remember anything about that country. I just remember the airport. The airport is beautiful. Stoner Trivia says, Elon will lose. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu beat weight any day. Zuck is a black belt 3 done. Glenn says it's going to be a stage fight. They're going to draw, announce a Meta X partnership. No, they're not. No, they're not. I mean, Mark just stole X, right? And came out with Threads, so I don't think so. Let's see. George, can you remind everyone who's going through the first halving just how fast price starts moving and when it gets going? It's pretty fast. Sometimes it takes a couple months after halving, but it moves pretty fast. Too bad I don't have one of those halving charts. But let me zoom out to a weekly scale just to kind of show you guys. So the last halving we had was like May of 2020. So I think that was around right here. This is March. May is right here. Okay, so approximately, this was the COVID crash, by the way. So you notice if we didn't have the COVID crash, basically Bitcoin would have just gone sideways, right? And right around here was the halving event. And then look at it. You know, shortly afterwards, we had this bump, and then boom. I mean, that's pretty quick, right? Months afterwards. And then if you look at the time before 2016, I don't know, 2016 was it May or what? I don't know back in 2016 when it was. But, I mean, if you're looking at 2016, let's just say April or May, you know, sideways movement, right? The halving event happened right here, and then look at what happened afterwards, right? Immediate bump, and then just start going up. So after halving event, usually you have a pretty serious rise immediately, right? Well, when I say immediate, like a few months. So this time around, probably the same thing, except we may get, you know, if we get the spot Bitcoin ETFs right before the halving event, it's going to accelerate things. In a big way. So things move really quickly. And I'm just showing you BTC's chart. Okay. If you actually look at how fast some of these alts moved during those periods, it's mind-boggling. What's your prediction for Avalanche? I don't know. I don't have a prediction off the top of my head. Avalanche was $133, so roughly 10x high, 10x from here. So it'll be higher than that. See, that shows you how crazy bullish runs are, right? Avalanche, you know, back in 2020, before the last halving event, was around $3, right? So it went from $3 to $133. That just shows you how crazy a bull run can be, especially for alts. Bitcoin does go on a crazy run, but the alts, man, they go crazy. They go bonkers. So Gene says, I was trying to do this yesterday. I got it today. I finally got my first Bitcoin. I'm so proud to have 1.0248 Bitcoin. Congratulations, Gene. That is very hard to do, right? Think about it. That's what you have is $30,000 worth of Bitcoin. And it is a very, very, very hard thing to do for most people on this planet. So congratulations. Rock Lobster also said, I got my first Bitcoin a few weeks ago. Congratulations, Rock Lobster. Patrick White, thank you for that. There's a lot of new whole coiners. Love to hear it. It is, I mean, for people that have more, it might not seem like a big deal, but I mean, if you just think about it, really, you know, who has $30,000 they could pull out of their bank account to buy Bitcoin? Very, very little people. Very little people. The easiest way is to buy a little bit at a time over time, right? That's how you accumulate. But you ask people, even people that's making very good salaries, well over 6 figures every year, you ask them to take out $30,000 to buy Bitcoin, very difficult to do, right? So congratulations to all that have become a whole coiner. And this is the reason why hodled or lost coins keeps on going up. Cypherpunk, Glenn asks, yes. I'm working with Flux to get some discount codes and price adjustments. But after it's done, I'm going to start announcing it. Basically, I want all of you guys there. Okay, it's going to be a much bigger event than my Vegas event. This will actually be a conference. I'm trying very hard to invite all the cool projects there, right? But I'd love to see a lot more retail investors there so that they can learn and have some fun in the sun, right? So I'll be announcing more of that next week. Hopefully we can get everything else done by this weekend. Do you consider a 48 Bitcoin a big position? Yes, of course. That's a big position. That's already like $1 million. So of course, yes. Patrick White, Grayscale court case decision is imminent. Come any day and allow Bitcoin trust to be converted. That's also big too. That's also very big. We'll see if that happens. That could be the first one that no one's even talking about, Patrick. Litecoin halving was a nothing burger, as expected. No one cares about Litecoin. No one talks about Bitcoin. Litecoin. Like honestly, just like I see 0 people talking about it. Yeah. Lazaro, I asked yesterday about if I invested $82K to reach $1 million, what's the minimum? I can't tell you a specific minimum, okay? And it sounds like it's approaching financial advice, so I cannot tell you that. But I can tell you that a lot of projects are still 10x off from their previous highs. So you could do the math there. In a bull run, things could go very, very, very crazy, right? It always does. It's going to be no different this time around. Staff, appreciate that. Where's the after party at? Well, Cypherpunk is going to have its own party. I know that. But there may be a party after that party. Okay, so I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work out. I have not thought about it yet. I'll leave this golden cross up. Looks pretty good. Sounds pretty good too. Okay. I don't need motherly advice from you, man. All right. Just chill. Lazaro, appreciate that. King, man. Adam prediction for this next bull run. Their token economics isn't greatest, but I think they have big potential. Brent, I've said that a lot. Okay, their token economics suck. To be quite frank, it just sucks. Otherwise, they should be in top 10. They'll still trend up with everything else. They still need to do like a 10x to get back to their previous high, right? They do have a lot of L1s that are coming out of Cosmos, but the problem is they're not helping. None of them are helping Atom specifically. So that's why they have not gone up more than they should have. But we'll see. We'll see. Everything trends up. I do like Cosmos a lot. I've talked to a lot of L1s coming out of Cosmos as well. And you still have some big boys like Injective, which I'm actually trying to get to Cypherpunk. You got Kava, Osmosis, and a few others too. I mean, these guys are fighting. These guys are fighting, I mean, you know, for bragging rights, right? For ego. It's not like they need the money. It's not like they need to fight. But this is like they're putting their reputation, I guess, on the line. So I think these guys will take it seriously. I don't think they're going to go light on each other. It's not going to be like one of those celebrity matches where everyone goes light. No, I think these guys are really going to try to tear each other's heads off. I don't know. That's just how I see it. I don't see Elon doing half-ass in anything, not even in a fight. But it could be quick. I mean, a lot of people say Zuck has all the experience, these black belts, and he's been fighting for a long time. So it could be quick, and Mark just wins, pins him down right away. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully we get like 3 rounds of good fighting. Damon, thank you for that. Mikey, appreciate that. Do you think Kudos can reach 200 million market cap? I'm not familiar enough with them to say. Not much going on. Bitcoin today, the U.S. market looking. Oh, NASDAQ. And Dow may flip and agree. NASDAQ is not looking so good. Hey, here's some SBF news. Judge will decide Friday whether to send SBF to jail over witness tampering. Interesting. A New York judge will decide in a few hours from now whether to send SBF to jail. Oh, I forgot. SBF was trying to witness tamper. Yeah, he reached out, like after he got sent home, he reached out to people on DM or something on Twitter. So does that mean he's just going to lose bail? Because he's on bail right now. So I don't know what that means. Yeah, conversations with the media. That'll be interesting. At some point, if a person had hundreds of thousands of crypto to sell, on what exchange could you move that much money into a bank to pay off a mortgage? All the major ones. I have done so before with Gemini, no problem. They allow you to withdraw up to $1 million. You could open a business account with Circle and do $1 million transaction, no problem. You could do it with Coinbase. You could do it probably with Kraken, although I never tried it in that large of an amount before. All the major U.S. exchanges allow you to do hundreds of thousands, no problem. There's like no limit unless you want to sell, you know, a couple $100 million, then that's a different story. But up to $1 million, not a problem. Sure, but the IRS will take note. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You should not be dodging taxes. There's a lot of people that think that they could hide their taxes because in this crypto forever, right? But the thing is, later on, when you become much wealthier due to your crypto, if you're going to spend it, unless you spend directly, even if you spend directly, you buy a house with Bitcoin, they have to report that. At some point, the IRS is going to get some kind of notice that you're spending. And then you have to pay more. And then when they go after you and audit you later on, it's much worse scenario because you're much richer, and then they will come after you harder. So that's why I think you just report everything that you have, report everything you earn, right? But if you want, find legal ways to deduct. So that, you know, you're not paying as much taxes. But it's one of those things you just can't avoid. You want to pay the taxes now than later when you're much wealthier, and there will be much more penalties and fines and maybe even jail time later. Does ARK have a surveillance partner like Coinbase? I'm pretty sure they have Coinbase as a surveillance partner. Last time I checked, every single one was using Coinbase. Alrighty, I guess we'll have to wait, see what happens later today when or if the SEC announces that they're going to approve or not approve or just ignore it until the next deadline. We'll see. We'll see what happens later today. Overall, Bitcoin is still kind of trending. U.S. market, what is... Well, Dow turned green, so that's good. Maybe NASDAQ starts flipping upwards. But yeah, we got some fight announcement. So that's pretty cool, although we still don't know when. We really want to know when it's going to happen. But in the meantime, you know what? Bitcoin is looking good. Technicals look good. Fundamentals look good. Everything looks good, guys. So stay strong, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. It won't be at 8:30. It'll be at 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.